we should not be afraid to say we want to win. If you ask me the biggest ambition I have, I will say to win the first Premiership match on the 14th of August.
3 seasons, 114 league matches, 269 points, 2 Premier League titles, 95 points in year 1, 15 goals conceded. Not a single one of those numbers is incidental. Each one reflects a system, built deliberately, imposed rapidly, and sustained under the scrutiny of the most competitive domestic league in the world.
Brilliant! Chelsea have scored! Mourinho has arrived, and he's arrived in style.
This was not evolution. It was disruption. What Mourinho produced at Chelsea between 2004 and 2007 was not a gradual improvement on existing infrastructure. It was an architectural reconfiguration of a football club, from the training ground up within the span of a single transfer window.
The third consecutive victory. José Mourinho is still unbeaten.
To understand what Mourinho built, you first need to understand what he was given, and what that didn't automatically guarantee. Roman Abramovich completed his acquisition of Chelsea in the summer of 2003. The club had finished 4th in 2002-2003 on 67 points. Credible, but clearly outside the elite tier. Under Claudio Ranieri in 2003-2004, that rose to 79 points and a second-place finish. Investment was working. The ceiling was visibly rising. But the gap between financial acceleration and structural dominance is not automatically closed by spending. Abramovich injected the capital. That raised the ceiling. It did not, on its own, guarantee what would be built beneath it. Abramovich created financial acceleration. Control still required system design. Several clubs throughout the Premier League era have had access to significant funding. Few produced what Chelsea produced between 2004 and 2007. The resource was necessary. It was not sufficient. The appointment itself carries analytical weight. Abramovich didn't hire a manager with a proven record of spending money well. He hired a manager who had won without spending money at all. Before arriving at Stamford Bridge, Mourinho had won the UEFA Cup with FC Porto in 2002-2003 and the Champions League in 2003-2004. Both titles came with a squad that had no claim to financial superiority over its opponents. Porto operated on limited resources by European elite standards, and they won the continent's premier knockout competition. At Porto, Mourinho proved he could win without resources. At Chelsea, he would operate with them. The Special One press conference at Chelsea has been widely framed as theater or arrogance.
Please don't call me arrogant, because what I'm saying is true. I'm European champion. I think I'm a special one.
It was neither. It was psychological positioning. Mourinho established his authority publicly before a ball was kicked in a league he had never managed in. The squad knew exactly who was in control of the system they were about to enter. The 2004-2005 season was not Chelsea finding form over time. It was Chelsea operating at near maximum capacity from the outset. 72 goals scored at one end, 15 conceded at the other. In a 38-match season, 15 goals conceded is not a defensive performance. It is a structural achievement.
I don't know what you mean by special and what I mean when I told that.
Chelsea are the champions. 50 years on, José Mourinho has shown the world that he is indeed the special one.
It means that across the majority of matches, the opposition managed no meaningful return on their attacking investment. That number alone reframes the entire season. The transfer activity in that window is frequently described as a spending spree. That framing misses the point. Didier Drogba arrived for approximately £24 million. Claude Makélélé had been secured the previous year for around £16 to £17 million. Ricardo Carvalho came for approximately £19 to £20 million. Paulo Ferreira for around £13 million. The fees were significant. The role definitions were more so. Carvalho and Ferreira had played under Mourinho at Porto. Their presence reduced the tactical adaptation window considerably.
Little flick on. Didier Drogba's in it! And Didier Drogba scores! Surely it's the goal!
arrived understanding the positional demands, the defensive shape, the press triggers, the transition protocols. Mourinho did not buy talent and ask it to perform. He bought function and asked it to replicate what it already knew. Makélélé's role was central to the defensive architecture. Operating ahead of the back four, he reduced central channel entries and disrupted the tempo at which opposition attacks could develop.
He's up, 26 on 26. Now Makélélé with the shot! I do not believe my eyes! Makélélé with a belter!
The 15 goals conceded that season did not come from an exceptional back four alone. They came from a system in which the midfielder in front of that back four was controlling the spaces it needed to cover. The first season proved capacity, the second proved repeatability. 29 wins again, 91 points. The offensive output increased. 82 goals scored against 22 conceded. The system had not stagnated. It had developed attacking fluency while maintaining defensive solidity. This is the data point that separates a genuine system from a good season. Opposition managers knew the shape. They knew the personnel, the press structure, and the transition patterns. Opposition had a full year of data. The outcome barely changed. Chelsea won 29 league games anyway. The marginal disruption introduced by opponent adaptation was not enough to alter the outcome in any meaningful way.
He is phenomenal. He is a phenomenon. I was fortunate enough to experience it in my days at Anfield.
The first title confirmed the system worked. The second confirmed it was sustainable. The 2006-2007 season requires careful reading. A surface-level interpretation produces a narrative of decline. The data does not fully support that narrative. 83 points, 24 wins, 3 losses across 38 matches. In any other recent Premier League era, that is a title-winning return. Chelsea finished second not because they collapsed, but because Manchester United, operating at a comparable level of system maturity, produced 89 points. The competitive performance remained strong. What did not remain strong was the alignment between the head coach and club ownership. Decision-making authority, squad composition, and the terms under which the manager operated had become areas of visible friction. The system still functioned. The alignment around it did not. Mourinho's departure in September 2007 was not caused by poor results. It was caused by structural disagreement between a manager who built and controlled a system and an owner who wanted a different level of operational influence over that system. The departure was a governance outcome, not a performance outcome.
In my career, two great passions, Inter and Chelsea. And Chelsea is more than important for me.
Aggregate data across 3 seasons provides the clearest measure of what Mourinho's Chelsea actually produced. A 72% win rate across 114 Premier League matches, an average of 89.7 points per season. 61 goals conceded across 3 full campaigns in the most competitive domestic league in the world. Random variance in football is real. Players have form cycles. Injuries disrupt selection. Fixture congestion accumulates. The point of analyzing 3-season aggregates is precisely because these factors average out. What remains is a signal, the consistent output of the underlying system. Over 114 matches, variance does not produce that outcome. Design does. The significance of this period extends beyond Chelsea's results. It restructured the competitive architecture of the Premier League itself. Before 2004-2005, the points threshold required to win the Premier League had been considerably lower. Chelsea's 95-point season immediately recalibrated what the title demanded. 90-plus points was no longer exceptional. It was necessary. Competing seriously for the title without 85 to 90-point capability had become structurally unrealistic. Any club with genuine title ambitions now had to operate at a level that could match or exceed that standard. Spending patterns shifted league-wide. Chelsea's investment, and the results it produced, accelerated the financial escalation that had already begun following the Abramovich acquisition. Other clubs could no longer compete at the top tier without matching the structural investment Chelsea had made in squad construction and coaching infrastructure. Chelsea transitioned from being a contender, a club capable of competing for the title, to being a structural elite, a club whose presence at the top of the table was the expected baseline output of a functioning system. Abramovich enabled the acceleration. Mourinho operationalized it first. The first Mourinho era at Chelsea is sometimes framed in terms of what it was not. It was not a long-term dynasty. It did not produce a Champions League title. It ended in a boardroom dispute rather than a natural succession. Those observations are accurate. They are not the point. What those 3 seasons produced was a measurable, repeatable, architecturally coherent body of work, sustained across 114 Premier League matches against opponents who adapted specifically to counter it in a competition that provides fewer margins for error than any other top-tier league in the world. The metrics do not require amplification. 82 wins, 269 points, a defensive record in 2004-2005 that remains one of the most controlled single-season performances the league has seen. A system that produced near-identical outputs in Year 1 and Year 2 before friction at the governance level introduced the first meaningful disruption. Not longevity, not mythology. 3 seasons that altered the competitive architecture of English football. The investment mattered. The system mattered more.